Hello. In the last video we derived the CVAT formulae, and in this video we're going to look at how we decide which one to use in a particular problem. So here's our five equations, our five formulae, and we have to decide which one to use, and we usually use what's called the list method and go through the following thinking. So from the problem we've got in front of you, what's the variable we want to know? And I'd probably put a question mark against that in my list of CVAT variables. What variables do I already know? Well, I can put the values against them. And then I'm going to choose a formula where I either know all the variables or I want to know all the variables. So I'm going to effectively get rid of the formulae that where there's variables in them that I don't want. And I'll go through and demonstrate that. Okay, here's an example. A car is travelling initially at 20 meters per second. So what's that told us? It's told us that in our CVAT list, u equals 20. It accelerates at 10 meters per second squared. So that's telling us that A is 10 for 30 seconds. So it's telling us that T is 30. And then it's asking us, how far will it have travelled? So that's asking us about displacement. So we want to find S, yeah? So looking at this question and what it's told us everything. And we need to know everything except V, yeah? We don't know, they haven't told us what V is, and we don't want to find V if we can avoid it, yeah? So using that list that I've just created on the left, we can work out which equation to use. What we do is we go through each equation and we work out which one has all the variables we want to know in and nothing else. Okay, so let's look at the first equation. Well, the first equation's got V in it. We don't know V, we don't want to find V, so we're not using that. Second equation also has V in it. We don't know V, we don't need to find V, so we're not using that one. The next equation, well, it has S in, that's what we wanted to find. It's got U in, which we know. It's got T in, which we know. It's got A in that we know. So that one's going to work for us, isn't it? It's going to find S from U, A and T. So that's a tick. Let's just check the others won't work. And it should be true, only one of these will work. Here we've got V in this equation. We don't know V, so that's not going to work for us. And the final equation's also got V in, that's not going to work for us because we don't know V. So that just leaves one of our equations, yeah, that will work with this problem. Okay, so what do we do next? Well, we just substitute the values in to that equation. We chose that one. We know U is 20, we know T is 30, we know A is 10, and we substitute those in. First term is going to be 600. The second term's 9,000 over 2, which is 4,500. We add those together and we get our distance travelled is 5,100 metres. Now, where we've got problems with where we're finding S, I give you one warning. And that is, are we starting from our initial point, our origin? So here I've just slightly changed the question so that we can bring out this point. A car. So reading this, a car is initially 1,000 meters from home, traveling at 20 meters a second. Everything else on this question is exactly the same, yeah? So rather than starting we still need the same equation, don't we? S equals ut plus half at squared. But the problem is here that using this equation, when t equals 0, our distance S is 0. Yeah, so if we go through and do the calculation, we get our 5,100 meters. But actually, we're starting 1,000 meters further away than that. So our actual displacement, we have to remember to add the 1,000 meters in. Yep, so our displacement at the end of our journey will be 6,100 meters. So you can either do that by remembering that point, or you can think about like an alternative version of this where there's actually an S0, our starting position, our starting displacement in this equation. Ditto for the other one with the VT. So you just need to watch out for that and sort ourselves out and make sure we deal with that when it turns up. So there we are. Here's my little summary page of CVAT. I would definitely recommend using the list approach. So you make a list, you put your values in, you tick and cross what you know and what you don't want to know, and then that helps you find the equation you want, and then you just substitute your values in. And beware for questions where you're not starting at s equals 0, and you need to correct for that when you get to your final answer. So there you are. Hope that's of use. Best of luck.